What is up, everybody? You are now listening to the Say What You Like Sports Podcast. We have our Week 12 NFL edition where we kind of go around the NFL, talk about some of the maybe not even the hottest things in the NFL, but just the things that are on our mind here around the NFL. So we're going to hit you first with a little bit of true or false, right?
That's right. And so we'll get it started with the big news about the brawl.
The brawl.
I mean, I kind of was out of it. I had to go to work. So I knocked out with about a minute left. And I thought, it's okay. I wake up to my phone being just blown up with reactions to the brawl, everybody's view on the brawl, and, so on and so forth in the results. So, with Myles Garrett being suspended the rest of the year for cracking Mason Rudolph on the head with the helmet, indefinitely, and having to meet Commissioner Goodell before he can be reinstated in 2020, the question has to be true or false. Myles Garrett's suspension should go into next season.
False.
False.
Hard false.
Really?
You saw some of what I wrote on Twitter.
Yes.
Right after or the next day. I believe that Myles, I'm not advocating violence. I believe Myles Garrett deserves to be punished. I believe Myles Garrett was in the wrong. I believe he deserves a suspension. But people, come on. It's this outrage culture. It's this thing. I mean, the name of this damn podcast is Say What You Like, man.
Yep.
You shouldn't have to filter your thoughts. You shouldn't have to pretend like you have virgin eyes, virgin ears, and a virgin mouth.
Mm-hmm.
We've all said things that we wish we didn't. We've all heard things that we wish we didn't. We've all seen things that we wish we didn't.
Yeah.
This is the least of our worries. All I'm going to say is this. He was wrong. He's a professional. He deserves to be suspended. But when you're talking that he needs to be in jail, when you're talking about he needs to be suspended into the next year, I'm just going to chalk that one up to the outrage culture, which the NFL is known to give into. We are dealing with the NFL here.
Yep.
They've done a lot. I think they've, punished players unfairly in the past, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. But do I think it should happen? Hard no.
The NFL is known to kowtow to social media.
Right.
I think is what the issue is with that. And they're always retroactive instead of proactive. But you know what? I'm going to say true. I think that you have to send a very hard and strict message. Myles Garrett's just the unfortunate kind of pawn in all of this, that we live in a day and age of that has to be kind of filtered out and bleached out of the game. Those are issues that are bigger than just getting frustrated over pass interference or roughing the passer. And we've gone back and forth on this and our views on it, but I think at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you want this punishment to be so severe so that this never happens again, because it's one of those things where I agree with you, the overreaction. Does he deserve to go to jail? No. Could he have killed Mason Rudolph? No, probably not. I mean, maybe 1 in 100. The chances are slim. But if Myles Garrett, if just by some act or the next guy swings a helmet and just cracks another guy and he gets it with the crown of the helmet.
And he knocks him out.
Yeah. Or he does kind of dent that skull a little bit. Those helmets are built to take a beating.
Right.
So you really can bludgeon someone with them. I think that's what's going to cause it. I think that I could look to him being suspended I think it's going to be like a 10-game suspension. I think it's whatever's left. I think 6 games are left and 4 in the next season, because they want to make a message clear. Do not fight. Do not strike with the helmet. Myles Garrett could easily taken off that helmet, dropped it. We've gone back and forth, like you said, about what could and couldn't, whose roles, who was responsible. But I think that it is. I think the NFL will want to keep this message clear. Short of another thing kind of taking over the narrative going into the season will be, does Myles Garrett play week 1? And I don't think so. I think he's suspended an additional 4 games.
Yeah. I think for me, if he suspended games into next season, then why wasn't Rudolph suspended a game? Why? Yeah. How do we let things go from such polar opposite sides of the spectrum, from all the way innocent to all the way guilty? Guilty enough to be punished into the next season, and not even guilty enough to be punished into the next week. You know, look at Pouncey, man. We were talking about how crazy Pouncey got. I mean, we're talking, he's like running to the ring in the WWF, Stone Cold.
Yeah, he did. He was,
you know, and we're sitting here talking about Garrett needing to be suspended into the next season.
Yeah, look, I don't agree with Mason Rudolph not getting at least a game, because that's, I mean, you literally try to grab a guy's junk, which is to me a giant no-no in a fight. You got up in his face. So I do agree, because he was an instigator. You know, at different levels, they instigated the fight. Myles Garrett, you know, shouldn't have kind of fouled on him. Looked like, you know, Myles Garrett's kind of borderline. Looks like he hurts people when he sacks them. He broke, I forget, I think Trevor Simeon's ankle in the Jets. Sometimes you kind of wonder, you know, he plays between the lines. But, you know, I think Mason Rudolph could have done better. I think he should have been suspended a game. Pouncey probably should be gone the rest of the year. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That to me is crazy to me. Because, like I said, I'm going to hold stance to, you don't want that again. You're not helping anybody smashing Myles Garrett. You're not diffusing the situation. You're not protecting the teammate, because he already hit him in the head.
Right.
You know? So, if I was the NFL, I would have suspended him. Like you said, the issue is Mason Rudolph probably should have got a game. I think Pouncey should have gotten the rest of the year. And I think Myles Garrett should have been this plus in the year. I think part of it is unfair that he doesn't, that he's the only one. But at the end of the day, it's visual. It's what we see, and it's throughout history. It's what our eyes tell us, and it's just a visual of him cracking him in the head with that helmet. And I mean, it looked bad, because, especially in slow motion, because you see his head kind of cave in on that. So I mean, that's
you saw the Dave Chappelle skit.
Yes.
All right. Everything looks better in slow motion.
Yes.
But certain things didn't. That's one of those things. It's like when he sat on the toilet, man. Doesn't look good, and just doesn't work in slow motion, man. Look, in real time, the situation happened so quick. That's why I'm not condemning Garrett. Well, like I said, what Garrett did is wrong. He deserves to be suspended. But, you know, I'm one of these guys that, guess what? I tuned into that football game to watch the football game, not to watch these guys fight, and that's why they deserve suspension. But at the same time, like, get over it, man. Let's not be talking about this in the middle of next season. Oh, Garrett came back from that suspension over a year ago. You know, we don't need that. Just let's the guy's a football player. Let him play football. And if he should ever make a stupid move like this again, then he would deserve a very long-term, indefinite suspension, but not on a first offense, man.
Yeah, I think that, you know, that's the thing, is that they should really want to send that message, because you make a good point, and that's something that maybe they want to sweep this under the rug, so to speak, where like they don't want to have to deal with it. But when you say he's out indefinitely, you kind of are. And if you just want to make sure at the end of the day that you don't see this again, or this doesn't escalate, because if you give them each a couple games, you want them to turn. I mean, they even find the organizations, which is nothing. I know it's chump change. It's nothing. It's probably pennies in the bucket to them. But they wanted to at least give you the image of, and that's the NFL. They may not want to really do they want to give the image. Doesn't matter what you did. They're working
on social media. Yeah. Like I said, it's a social media, type of world where this is what I want people to think of me. Yeah. This is what I want you to see of me. This is what I want to look like to you. And then there's what you really are.
Yeah.
And to me, let's just be real. It was a fight. They got in a fight. Suspend them. Move on.
I agree to that part, but man, I don't think we see Myles Garrett.
Who's one of my favorite guys from Kill Bill, man? Bud.
Bud.
Because he was the only one. He knew what he did.
Yeah.
Hey.
She deserves her revenge.
Yeah. And I probably deserve to die. But then again, so does she. So we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
That's the way I play it, man.
Can't argue with that logic.
That's logic for you, man. But we got another true or false question, right? And let's do something pertaining to on the field, man.
Yes, let's. Although I don't know what's worse, getting cracked over the head or watching Phillip Rivers play quarterback anymore.
I'd probably make a case that was a little more entertaining.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So Monday night, Mexico City, the Chargers took on the Kansas City Chiefs. And for the most of that game, if you look at that game on paper, you just read the statistics, especially in the first half, you would have thought the Chargers dominated the Kansas City Chiefs. Except for one thing. Phillip Rivers is just an interception machine. I mean,
he's giving Jameis Winston a run for his money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and then not just the interceptions, but the overthrows. I mean, if I like towards the last three series they had, it was like, first play, I'm going to throw 20 yards ahead of the receiver.
Yeah, he's like missing them by wide margins.
I'm like, and it's just like, chuck it. And I'm like, there's no checkdowns in the offense, or he just says, Fuck checkdowns.
Yeah.
I'm Phillip Rivers.
Right.
I'm going to throw 50 yards. I don't care if my receiver can't catch it. That's his fault.
Right.
And to have a chance to go into overtime and to tie the game and to just throw such a horrible interception and just kind of cost it. So, his contract's up now. So, true or false, Phillip Rivers will be a starting quarterback in 2020.
I have to say false. I just don't see it. I think we spoke a little bit earlier about this, and this is really 2019 has really been where it's finally hit me over the head with the hammer, and this is a changing of the guards for the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hearing about Russell Wilson's the only one that's kind of continuing that. Hey, we've talked to him. We talked about him a year or two ago, a few years.
I mean, but he's still relatively young compared to the Rivers.
Right, compared to them. But when you're talking about Rivers, you're talking about Manning, you're talking about Roethlisberger, even Drew Brees was out for a little bit. Tom Brady is struggling. Tom Brady himself. Peyton Manning's retired. Tony Romo's retired.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are done. Carson Palmer.
Yeah, these were the guys.
Those 03, 04 guys, they're gone or they are struggling.
On the way out. I'm going to say true, and I'm going to give you the team. It's going to be the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, wow. That's not an NFL team.
Yes,
you said NFL team, man.
It's an NFL team. They are an NFL team. I think that... Okay, let me ask you this question. Do you think Phillip Rivers is the kind of guy who would even be in the NFL if he doesn't have a starting job? Could you see him fight for a starting role somewhere?
I think if he knew he wasn't the starter, he's not going to be there.
No.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I think that when I look at... Somebody's going to trick themselves into thinking they can get a year out of Phillip Rivers.
NFL teams do this every year. They love doing this.
Yes.
Somebody does.
I think he's from that area. From that, he's from like Tennessee. I think he went to NC State.
Love here? Doesn't he love?
He loves San Diego.
Yeah.
He loves San Diego. But his family's in. I think his children and them are in San Diego, but his parents and his relatives, they're over there in Carolina. I could see him making that trek. I know that's something that to get to play in that area to see his family is something I know he's talked about, and I've heard him say, he's tired of this commute. He's either going to retire, or I think he'll be a Tennessee Titan because they're going to be looking for a quarterback. You have a guy like, the coach from the Titans. I always forget his name.
I'm forgetting his name.
Defensive player from New England.
I can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name right now. It's complete.
Vrabel.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel. Thank you. I could see him kind of looking at his team and them looking at their team and saying, we just need a quarterback. We need someone a little bit better than what Mariota was and a little bit better than Tannehill. And Rivers has that.
But the way he's been playing lately, I don't think he has that, man, because I got a stat here. Rivers in the last 2 games has 7 interceptions, and his passer rating is 11.7 for the whole 2 games. That's his passer rating.
Hey, they put up with Mariota for like 8 games.
That's true.
Okay. And I think, especially with a team like that who probably feels they can compete, I think the Titans it just probably look at that division and say, we're not that much worse than any of these other teams. They just probably have an advantage. All these other teams probably have a little bit of an advantage at quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, so they're probably saying, unless somebody else falls from the tree, and I think they will, I think he will spend his last year. 2020 will be, I think, Phillip Rivers' last season. It'll be in a Tennessee Titans uniform.
Bold predictions, man. And speaking of bold predictions, let's go ahead and jump to these Week 12 picks. Let's give our weekly picks now. In Week 11, I had 9 wins. I think you had, 11 or 12?
Yeah, I had 11 wins.
11 wins. So you're actually up by 4 wins on the season. And so I got some ground to pick up, man, on this. So Week 12, start with the big Thursday night football game. We have the Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. Give me Houston to bounce back. That loss had to have stung to Baltimore. I didn't expect them to get blown out like that, so I think they're going to make this thing right at home against Indy.
That's what's the old saying? Burn the tape, bury the ball kind of game.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I don't know why. In my mind and every other part of me says Indy, but I think Houston, Lamar Jackson's the kind of Deshaun Watson's the kind of quarterback that's not going to let that happen twice. I think he has a bounce back game. They find a way to protect him a little bit longer. I believe Indy's going to be without Marlon Mack. I think he's hurt. He's going to be gone for a while. That was their running game.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
I look at Houston kind of winning a touchdown, 10-point game. So, yeah, I got Houston too.
back from the dead, the Atlanta Falcons, man.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. And at this point, I said I would never pick Atlanta again. And I really would stick to my guns here. But the quarterback for the other team is Jameis Winston. So I'm going Atlanta.
I feel like Jameis Winston can throw it out of bounds and still get intercepted.
Yes.
Like, that's the craziest thing. That interception with O.J. Howard, he tried to put the ball behind his back.
Yes.
Like, at one point, that's not even... Jameis has to just be mad. Like, that's an interception? That had nothing to do with me. That's on my stat line?
Yeah. It's like interceptions follow him,
Yes.
whether his fault or not.
I swear, he could throw it out of bounds. It'll bounce off a ref's hand into a defensive player's hand for a touchdown.
Yes.
And then that doesn't count the ones that actually he does screw up on.
Right.
But it's funny because the way I look at this game, could Tampa go in there and win? Probably, maybe. Could they hang a couple points? Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think that Tampa Bay is ready to turn the page on Jameis Winston, and I could see Atlanta winning fairly easy.
Those are two quarterbacks in that draft that went very, very wrong for these franchises. Mariota already got the boot, and you're right. I think Jameis is
last year here.
Yeah. Next game on the schedule, we have the Denver Broncos, who surprised the hell out of me against Minnesota, going to take on Buffalo. Buffalo is at home. What do you got?
Oh, man, Denver. I was rooting for Denver in that game. They looked so good coming out of the gates. Kirk Cousins was about to have a Kirk Cousins type game. And Kirk Cousins has resolve. He's kind of proving doubters wrong. And this is a big season for Kirk Cousins. So, I'm shocked to see that. As far as this one, I got Buffalo. I think Buffalo, they're at home. Their defense is just going to maul. I can't remember. Allen's the quarterback's name.
Yeah. There's so many bad Allens in
the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Denver's Allen.
Yeah.
And so, I got Buffalo just shutting them down and, Josh Allen making enough plays and calling that the game.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to go Buffalo here as well. Then we have the New York Football Giants at the Chicago Bears. Give me the Bears at home, man.
Yeah, I was about to say, are you going to do this whole NFC East?
I'm partial to the NFC East, so I'm going to pick... No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Not that crazy. I'm not going to do it 2 weeks in a row to myself.
No, I got the Bears too. These are so bad teams. These are such bad teams. But I think that of the units on the field, the Chicago's defense is better than anything else.
Yeah,
that's the best unit by far.
Yeah, on both sides.
They may need to score themselves.
They will, I think.
And we still don't know who's going to be the quarterback for the Bears. Is Trubisky out with that hip tears? I don't know. He had a soul in the hip because he was crying and
his paper cut.
Yeah,
I guess is
that was
him
such
out.
a weird scene. Did you see that scene?
Yeah,
when he's like, what's his name? Nagy. He's like holding. I've never seen that before.
No,
Nagy's consoling him, and I just was like, my God, what am I watching?
I don't know, man.
It was so surreal. Yeah, as bad as they are, I still think the Giants are a little bit worse.
This league is getting soft, man.
No.
Let's see. Then we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati, man, I'm not going to say I had high hopes for them, but I expected them to be a decent, competitive team.
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong.
No.
Boy, was I. That is if we go back and talk about what we were wrong about at the beginning of the season, for as many things as I have been wrong about, this is the worst.
Yeah.
Because I expected them to be a decent 6 to 8 win team.
No.
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 It was way off.
No. I don't think we had that NFC North peg for anything.
No.
No, we were totally off about that.
Completely shocked on that.
Yeah. But I look at Pittsburgh, you know what the NFL did after that brawl? The worst punishment that the NFL gave wasn't to Myles Garrett. It was to the Pittsburgh Steelers by not suspending Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know what? We're going to punish you. How? He's going to play.
Your quarterback.
He's your quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
So guess what? This is a game that Cincinnati could win. I'm being honest. They're at home. Pittsburgh's, I think they're mentally shot. Their offense is trash, but much like the game prior that we talked about, Pittsburgh's defense is probably the best unit on the field. None of them got suspended.
Right.
So I think that Mika Fitzpatrick and the company kind of handed to them, and I think it's close for maybe a quarter and a half, and then Pittsburgh's defense just starts to maul Cincinnati.
Yeah, exactly. We got Miami at the Cleveland Browns, and you know what? I really like Miami for what they are. I'm really disappointed in Cleveland for the boneheaded things they're doing everywhere you go. I think Freddie Kitchens is in way over his head, and it's apparent. And I think as bad, as much as I've been saying, hey, this Myles Garrett thing has been blown out of proportion, it's still a bad look on him for losing control of your team.
It's a microcosm of the season.
Right, exactly. It's just the cherry on top, and I don't see how he makes it. But with all that being said, this is Miami, and Cleveland's at home, and I think they're going to have to play well to kind of get that bad press off of them from last week.
You would think.
One would think.
I
love that. One would think.
I do not think that.
Wow.
I think the Miami Dolphins are
think.
they are I think they're better coached compared to Cleveland. I think that I don't know. I think Cleveland's broken on a different level.
Who is Brian Flores?
Better than Freddie Kitchens.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
I'm not this isn't Miami versus New England. I'm not comparing Flores to Belichick or McVay or Shanahan or any of the other. It's the bar's low.
Right.
The bar is low. I just look at it like Miami has won games and been in games they had no business being in and winning. And at the end of the day, I just look at it like Cleveland, only the Cleveland Browns can do something that they've never done in recent history and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers and still feel like the losers coming out.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
right. They do.
Yeah.
They really do.
They really do. They don't, and that's what I think carries on. I think Miami wins. I think Cleveland just is shell-shocked. I think Miami can stop the run. And I look at them to win this game by a field goal, maybe last-second field goal, and just kind of put the nail in the coffin of the Cleveland Browns 2019 season.
Yeah, so let's move on. The next game on the Carolina Panthers at the New Orleans Saints. Like I said, I really think this is another division rivalry game, but I just never bet against New Orleans at New Orleans.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do it this week, man.
I agree with you. I think Carolina's come back to earth.
Yeah, they really have.
I think they're what they thought the Niners were going to be when the Niners were 3-0 and 4-0. Like, oh, they'll, and Carolina. Remember when Carolina was the toughest test the Niners faced, and people talked about them and Kyle Allen and all this stuff, and we're going to get rid of Cam Newton, and I think that's been quieted since that Niner game.
Yeah.
And as much as McCaffrey is good and McCaffrey's awesome, New Orleans is just stacked. They're at home. I don't think they're losing 2 divisional games at home this year.
Right.
I got New Orleans.
I'm with you. The surprising upstart Oakland Raiders going to the New York Jets. Jets have looked terrible outside of a couple of big plays on the Dallas defense all season long for the most part. But I don't know, man. Oakland having to go to the East Coast is going to be tough. I still think that the Jets are talented. I got to go Oakland. But I really thought about taking the Jets.
You know what?
Honest.
I want to be honest with you. I kind of thought so too, because this Oakland team is still learning. There's still going to be growing pains, and this is a prime example of coming off a couple great wins, stacking a division win, stacking a win on top of that, and now you're going to a team you think you should beat, cross country, 10 o'clock start. And so this one, if the Jets win, I wouldn't be surprised. For as bad as the Jets are and as good as Oakland has proven to be, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is a giant upset. There's a path for Sam Darnold to win. But I think Oakland's formula is simple and straightforward. Is run the ball. I truly do believe they have the Rookie of the Year in Josh Jacobs. And their defense is getting after it, man. That Max Crosby is a beast. 4th-round athletic DN. If Gruden's smart and can weather the storm and get them focused, I think they should win comfortably. And that's what I have the Oakland Raiders winning this one.
All right. Then we have Detroit at Washington. I've learned my lesson. I picked Washington because, I don't know, I felt bad for them or something. So I'm going to go Detroit Lions. and that's without Matt Stafford. I'm still taking Detroit over Washington.
Oh, yeah.
I'd take any team in the league over Washington
at this point, yeah. I mean, are they going to win another game?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Not the way they're looking. I mean, they look defeated.
Yeah.
Defeated.
That's a horrible
we
team.
don't even want to be a franchise anymore.
No, they really don't. I mean, you could tell they're checked out from GM to the last player on that roster. They are in dire need, despite what their GM and president says. They are in dire need of a culture change.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, they are just a mess. So,
I was saying earlier, Dan Snyder is what everybody always accused Jerry Jones of being.
Yeah.
But he's been consistent with just that meddling, stupid, non-football owner.
He's done it twice.
Yeah.
You had Mike Shanahan saying, I don't want RG3. Too bad you're getting RG3.
Right.
Deal with it.
Yes.
Then it's like...
Then why'd you hire this guy?
Then there's Jay Gruden. I don't want Dwayne Haskins. Too bad you're getting Dwayne Haskins.
Exactly.
It's like, dude, you did it again.
Yeah.
You did it again. It's
That's
the rake in the ground, in the grass. You smacked yourself in the face again.
Turn around and take the next one.
Yep.
That's what happened in Washington, man.
In case you didn't know, I'm taking Detroit too.
Then we have Seattle Seahawks at the Philadelphia Eagles. Give me Seattle all day. Russell Wilson, the Seattle defense is playing a lot better. Russell Wilson's the MVP. Dak Prescott is better than Carson Wentz. Let's just put that to bed right now as a Cowboys fan. Look, Carson Wentz is just, I think he's a good quarterback, but he's just not enough to bring his team back like they need. And I don't see them being able to do that even at home against Seattle.
I got Philly. I really do. I
don't know why, man.
I don't know why either. It's one of those feelings that I got that I just look at it like, yeah, I know how tough. And it would be interesting. I think I would take Philly even more if they were at Seattle. Because I don't know. Seattle's home. They're not as great at home as they were before. Their wins come on the road. You know, their losses have been at home. I think they have a team that can slow down Seattle. They're not built that differently from the Niners with the exception of, like, the linebackers. They have a front four. Cox kind of looked like he was getting into his groove. Brandon Graham, you still have your defense. I think you can run on them. I really do. I think that Philly's offense is probably a little healthier than the Niners' offenses when they faced them. You know, you're still going to have an offensive line. I mean, the Niners were still decimated. What we'll say about Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz can make throws that very few quarterbacks can make. And he almost made one to beat New England. That one throw that Nelson Aguilar's hand said, we ain't about this life.
Yeah,
and dropped it.
That's not what
the problem is he's like a pitcher that can hit 101 miles per hour, but he just can't get a strike with his changeup. He can't get anything else.
Right.
And that's Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz makes, I'll be honest with you, just no bias. Carson Wentz, I've seen better throws than than Dak has. But Dak is just consistent. Time and time and time and time and time again. Whereas Wentz will throw one great play on a fourth down, and then the next three are high or low.
Right. He misses like casual throws.
Yeah. Like I'm like 4 yards right here, and he's like 5 yards over my head. Yeah.
Right.
So that being said, I think they'll establish the run, and I think Seattle, I don't know, they're due for one. So I'm going to say Philly.
Oh. All right. Give me some ground on that one. Jacksonville at Tennessee. Man, these two teams, man. I don't know what to say about them. I don't know what to think about them. These are the epitomes of up and down teams where you really don't know what you're going to get week to week. This is a tough game to call. Tennessee's at home, and I was going to go there. But then, I mean, Ryan Tannehill, man. They're down to Ryan Tannehill. You just said they need Phillip Rivers, who has an 11.7 quarterback rating over the last two games. So, give me Jacksonville.
I think I just don't buy Nick Foles.
I do, man. That's Nick Foles, man.
Nick Foles in Philly is different than any other Nick Foles.
Okay.
Jacksonville Nick Foles is not Philly Nick Foles.
He has no power here.
No, exactly. He does not.
Rubbish. You have no power here.
Exactly. He does not. And I think that Tennessee is going to be... This is the time where Tennessee does what they always do. They find a way to get to 9-7, 8-8. They run the ball. I mean, do you remember that one play they played on Thursday night where, like, Derrick Henry ran for like 98 yards.
Yeah.
He felt like he stiff-armed Jalen Ramsey
Yes.
4 times on the way.
Right. Yes.
This is where I think they run the ball. They're at home. I think they get a pretty comfortable win. Just running the ball and keeping away from Jacksonville.
I'm nervous about this pick. I really do want to go Tennessee, but I don't know, man. I don't know how Ryan Tannehill stays consistent. They played a little better with him than Mariota, but just I'm worried about it.
Yeah.
All right. Big game. Dallas Cowboys at New England Patriots. This is is going to be the game of the week here. The number one offense versus the number one defense. We talked a little bit about it earlier on the red and blue rivalry. Look, Dallas, in my opinion, you take their offense against the New England offense, and you can't name a starter that's better on that 11 from the Dallas 11. Dallas beats them across the board on talent. On defense, the back end of the New England Patriots is very talented, but so is this Cowboys offense. And I think Zeke's going to bounce back. I think it's going to be Zeke's bounce back game. Nobody's expecting it. And I think that they're going to pull up the upset because, look, Tom Brady is another one of those quarterbacks that's, you know what? His slope has been kinder, but he's the last one to go, but he's going. And I think he's going to hit the wall against the Cowboys. This is the kind of game the Cowboys win, a game that they're not expected to win.
I don't know. I kind of feel like they are, though. I mean,
really?
Like you said, they're a more talented team, in more positions than New England. If this was in Dallas, I probably would pick Dallas too. I think this is a field goal game. The reason I think this is a field goal game is for 2 reasons.
The line is 6.5. So on an even field, on a field, it would just be a 3-point difference.
Yeah. In my mind, this is a 3-point difference. And New England's favored by 6.
They're 6.
Yeah. I just, they're home. I think that's why. They think that New England is a field goal. They think New England is a field goal better than Dallas. And I think that too.
Yeah.
You know, I just think they are. I think that in the first quarter, I still see Dallas struggling to get started. That's going to cost them.
They can't make any egregious errors in the beginning of the game and get behind. Yeah. They cannot have a Zeke fumble on his first carry and expect to win this game.
No, they can't.
They don't have to be explosive, but just don't cough up the ball on your side of the field.
I just think you can't go down 21-0 in the first quarter.
Oh, for sure.
But I think that Belichick will find a way on. Okay, let's go with the offense first. New England's offense will do enough. I don't think they're going to be world beaters. I think you're going to see a lot of trick plays. Don't be surprised if Edelman and Mohamed Sanu end up throwing the ball deep, getting shots, throwing the ball. Flea Flicker's double reverses, Sony Michel on screens. They're going to try to take advantage of Dallas's speed on defense. And then we get to the battle. The battle is the Cowboys offense and their wide receivers and their passing game versus New England's defense. And I think it's a stalemate, but the one big difference is one team has Bill Belichick on their defense and the other one doesn't. And I think what Bill Belichick's going to do, just from what we've seen throughout his history, is he's going to take Gilmore, his best corner, he's going to put him on Gallup. And then he's going to use a combination on something on Amari Cooper where the goal is to confuse Dak for a second. If he can get Dak, because Dak's first read is more likely going to be Amari Cooper. So if you can get Dak to have to think a second or two longer, is he open? Is it a zone? Is it man? Are they bracketing him? What's the coverage? If they can do that, and at the same time with their stunts and blitzes, when they get to Dak, but bring him down. Where it fails is if Dak breaks free.
Right.
If Dak breaks free, then all that goes to crap.
Right.
But if they can get to him and make him think, much like they did Goff, and make him think, and even if he's moving around the pocket, but he's stuck in the pocket and they can tackle him and sack him, I think that's what's going to be the issue. So I got New England holding on and winning 21-20.
Oh, man, I got it the opposite. I got Dallas winning by about 3 to 4 points. We'll see. So another big game that we talked about a little bit earlier, we have the Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers. And like I said before, I'll state it again, I go back and forth on this one. Back and forth. And it's all depending, and it teeters and it totters on, is George Kittle going to play for the San Francisco 49ers? Because I believe with George Kittle, it gives the San Francisco 49ers offense the ability to to, keep their defense fresh.
Yeah.
And I think if there's a couple of 3-and-outs and you let Aaron Rodgers get a lead on you, that defense is now good enough to hold a lead. And with Aaron Rodgers, they can play with confidence. They can play aggressive. And that's just a recipe for disaster. But again, if Kittle's there, I expect the 49ers to stay ahead of the chains, not give them too many shots at the defense, and I would pick the San Francisco 49ers. However, this Kittle injury report, I mean, he was supposed to play. Then he was out. Then he was supposed to play against Arizona. Now he's out. And now they're saying it's questionable and it's game time. That's scaring me. So
I think that's scaring you. Imagine being a Niner fan.
Yeah, right. And that's scaring me. So because of that, and I know you being the Niner fan that you are going to pick this team and I need to make up ground, I'm going to pick the Green Bay Packers. But I'm telling you, if Kittle plays, give me the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, so Kittle, I don't know if it's Shanahan just playing coy and just not wanting to discuss Kittle and just saying, okay, we know he'll be ready for Friday practice, which is still a few days away. This is a game, man. This is Aaron Rodgers. You don't want to give Aaron Rodgers too many cracks at your defense. Right. You really don't. And the fear is that the Niners offense starts slow, just like they did against Arizona, and Green Bay gets up. What I think is going to happen is actually the opposite. I think both offenses are going to start slow. I think you're going to have a lot of moving a couple first downs, punt, 3-and-out.
Your classic heavyweight first round. They're filling each other out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and all you have to really look back is to what, the last time Aaron Rodgers faced a Bosa was Joey Bosa this year against the Chargers. Yeah. And they're built similar as far as DNs,
Right.
You have the ability to put pressure, and they were able to kind of collapse the pocket. Where they're weakest, the Green Bay Packers is on the offensive line. And I think that if you can kind of collapse the pocket, much like we talked about Dak, and don't let Aaron Rodgers get free or look up and force him to look down, because he has done that before. I mean, you talk about the Chargers. There's been past games against Denver where if you can get pass rush on him and not even a clean sack, but just make him feel muddled, make him feel uncomfortable in the pocket, he will start to look down and look for an escape route to throw. And I think that's where you have Nick Bosa and you have DeForest Buckner or Eric Armstead. I don't think DeForest playing, which sucks, but they should be able to put enough pressure on them to kind of get the W. I think that with George Kittle, I think the Niners win 27-20, 28-20, around there. I think without Kittle, I think it's kind of similar to what I talked about. I think it's 21-20, 24-21. I think the Niners still win because A, they're at home, B, they have their defense. And if the receivers are playing and Deebo Samuel can come up big again, that's just another weapon for Jimmy G. So give me the Niners in this one.
All right, then we got to close it out with the Monday night game. The Baltimore Ravens coming off a big win. Coming off a huge win, really surprised me, and they're going to take on the LA Rams here in the backyard. The Rams didn't look impressive.
No.
The Rams haven't looked impressive. The Rams are that classic team where they're supposed to be better than this, right? I still believe they're better than this.
Their talent dictates they are.
They got
coaching dictates
right,
they are.
Everything, I've been conditioned to believe that they're better, but when I see them, they're not. No. And what's funny is that Baltimore is a team that I had a lot of doubts coming into this season. I thought they'd be I really thought they'd be close to being what Cincinnati would be, like an 8-win team. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And now that they're not, it's like my brain can't compute this. I want to pick the Rams because they're at home. I want to think that Baltimore's going to have a slip up. But the way they're playing, I can't do that. So, man, I'm going to bounce back and forth on this one. I'm talking myself in and out of the pick. I've been doing it all day. But you know what? I think the Rams need this game more than Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And they're at home. So, in the end, I'm going to pull the trigger on the Rams.
Baltimore. It's because I look at it like this. Do you know what the difference between those Rams teams of the last few years and this one is? Their offensive line.
Yeah.
They're older, they're banged up, and they're not the same. They're missing people. They're having to replace people. You're seeing the effect of not having first round picks and not being able to replenish positions.
Yeah.
So I mean, you look at Baltimore sending. You saw the confusion and what they did to Lamar Jackson.
Right.
What do you think they're going to do to Jared Goff?
Yeah.
And then you have their offense. And then you have the Rams. The Rams aren't going to get many cracks. And much like we talked about Aaron Rodgers, kind of, you don't want to give him so many cracks at the Niners defense. You don't want to have the Rams defense on the field that much longer, because sooner or later they're going to continue to run the ball and they're going to find lanes. I mean, it's going to be fun to see if Aaron Donald gets free, if he can bring down Lamar Jackson. That's going to be a sight to see. I just look at Baltimore as they're playing on a different level. They remind me of that kind of beginning the Thunder OKC, where you had Harden and Westbrook and Durant, and they were just faster than everybody. They went up and down the field on everybody, and I think they're gonna just. I think what happened on Sunday night with the Rams was fool's gold. I don't think that's gonna continue. I got the Ravens to win in almost the same fashion they did Houston.
Really?
If
big, huh?
Big, yeah.
Okay, we'll see, man. So the picks are in the books for Week 12, man. You're up 4 wins on me on the season. I was doing pretty good early, and I've hit a bad streak these last couple of weeks.
Well, we both did at one point. I think you had like 3 wins. I had like 5 wins. That one
was just inexplicably bad, man.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. It was like, that's my New York Jets week.
Yeah.
You know, as a Cowboys, like where I had no business just picking games that week, man. I've never had a week that bad.
One or two things. Either you're going to creep closer or I'm going to extend the lead depending on our picks.
Yeah, we have quite a few that are different, so that'll be good, because we had that one week where we picked everybody the same. That was crazy. But yeah, man. So that's pretty much everything for Week 12. Anything else that you want to touch on before we get on? I mean, we talked about Myles Garrett. We talked about Phillip Rivers. Some of these quarterbacks getting old.
No, I mean, God, it's already Week 12.
It's closer to being over.
It is
already.
3 months. I think it's been 3 months of football.
Yeah,
we're getting to finish up 3 months. September, October, then we're finishing up November. It feels like we're just getting started. Both our teams are in playoff contention. Man, it just looks like it won't end at Week 17, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a great thing, man. I can't wait. A lot of people were asking in the chat room earlier, what would it look like a matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the Cowboys?
That's Titans right there. That's
good.
That is.
It's a good matchup,
that's
though.
That's Hogan and Warriors.
It's a good matchup, though.
Yeah,
it's a really good matchup, though.
And I'll say this statistic, because it's Dallas. I know has the number 1 offense on third down, converting. The Niners are the number 1 defense on third down, getting you off the field.
Right.
So
something's got to give.
Yeah, it's going to be our pass rush versus your offense, our strength versus your strength.
The Cowboys' offensive line has been playing terrific on pass blocking.
Yeah. And that's where the Niners defense is just stout across the board. Is not only it's Bosa and Ford and Buckner and Armstead, even Buckner and Armstead, who are 6'7", almost 300-pound dudes, but they're pass rush defensive tackles. They're not just run stuffers. And then you have the speed at the linebackers, and then it's our offense and our running game versus your defense. And man, if we get to see that in the playoffs, that's going to be quite a game.
Yeah, it'd be quite a matchup. But we'll have plenty of time to talk about that, I'm sure. So I guess we're going to wrap this thing up for Week 12. We will catch you guys back on the Week 13 Say What You Like Sports podcast. We'll also have the Red and Blue rivalry. We'll be wrapping up everything Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers. So until next time, guys, we will catch you on the flip side.
Late.